Good morning, students. Let's continue our chapter 8. We are today finishing our chapter 8. There are hardly 4 to 5 points left for us to finish the chapter. Dear students, today I won't give you the question answers to write, but you have to write the textual question answers that is given on page 63. You will have to write all these question answers. Now listen, suppose I have given you in the daily homework on the blackboard work the definition, or I have told you to explain about the dual citizenship. If you have written it once, then you need not write it second time. For example, your question number 2, what is adult suffrage? I think yesterday you have written this question answer. So if it is repeating, I am not telling you to write again. But otherwise all the other questions on page 63 as well as on 64 you have to complete today. You are soon going to have the test. Government has already sent us the syllabus, the chapters. We will announce it on Monday, and better get ready with your exam, with your lessons. We have so far finished chapter 1, 2, 8. Now, come to the point number 11. That is the 11th feature of the Constitution. Judicial review. Judicial review. Judicial review is the chief characteristic of the Constitution. Judicial review administers the working of union and state within jurisdiction. Students, I want you to underline this. Judicial review administers the working of union and state. Underline union and state within jurisdiction, within the given area, in that period. Without disrespecting the powers of Parliament, the Constitution has made an effort to harmonize the principles of judicial review without disrespecting the powers of the Parliament. The other day we saw the Parliament has the right. We also saw the two houses of the Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, which is also known as the upper house and the lower house. So students, without disrespecting, the Constitution has made an effort to harmonize, to bring peace among the principles of judicial, efforts to harmonize the principles of judicial review. Parliamentary amendments, external orders, ordinances, and judicial judgment are given for judicial review. Underline that. Parliamentary amendments. We saw yesterday about the amendments. You know what is amendment. We have seen 3 points over there. Okay? So, when there is a majority, we saw, and how much majority is required? 1/3 majority is required. So students, amendments, external orders, ordinances, and judicial judgment are given for judicial review. If the court finds any indiscrepancy in the external orders, ordinances, or judicial judgment, it can stop by declaring them unconstitutional. So students, what? If the court finds any indiscrepancy. Okay? Now what is the meaning of indiscrepancy? It means the state or quality of being discrepant or in disagreement as by displaying or unexpected or unacceptable difference. So what does it mean over here? What is said over here? If the court finds any indiscrepancy in the external ordinances or judicial judgment, if it doesn't match, the court has not accepted it and all, so it can stop by declaring them unconstitutional. Okay? See the next point, fundamental rights and duties. What do you understand by the fundamental rights and duties? See students, fundamental rights and duties is also part of the Constitution. It tells us, it reveals us, the Constitution will reveal us will tell us what the right human being has. What are the rights that the human beings have, or what is the duty, our duty towards our nation. And so students, let's see here what is given. Fundamental rights are conferred to the people of India by the Constitution to live a dignified life. To live a dignified life. That we may live a life which gives us dignity, which is worthy of being as a human being. And so, who has given us these rights? The Constitution has given us. The most valuable capital of our country is in the overall development of nation, which further lies in the fundamental duties and rights. So, what is told over there? The most valuable capital of our country. What do you understand by the capital here? Capital is the property, the asset, the money of the country is in the overall development of the nation and further, which further lies in the fundamental duties and rights. What right or what duty we have towards the nation? So then, right to constitutional remedies and for the children, that is from 6 to 14 years of age, right to educate are also made available. There are different types of rights. When you come to the chapter 9, you will see that you have the full chapter. The name of the chapter only is Fundamental Rights, Fundamental Duties and the Directive Principle of State Policy. So in that you are going to see that what are the human rights, what are our fundamental rights. For example, right to equality, right to freedom, right to follow the religion, freedom of following the religion of your choice, or right against exploitation, or the right to get education, educational rights. So these are the different rights which we have got it from the Constitution. So we are going to see, but right now over here for you, this sentence is very important and you will have to underline that. Right to education, and education to whom? Children from 6 to 14 years of age. A compulsory education. You will see in the next chapter. Now, let's see the directive principles of the state and policy. Directive principles of the state and policy. What is that directive principles? Let's see. Protection of people, security and welfare. Protection of people, security and welfare should be carried out by the states. The state is responsible to see that the people of the state are safe. Okay? They are protected well. These principles provide directions for state governances and policy making. So, they are called as directive principles. What are called directive principles? So why are they called directive principles? In short, the protection of the people, security and their welfare should be carried out by the state. Make a bracket. Okay, make a bracket to this. These principles are provided or provide directions for the state governances and policy making. So they are called as the directive principles. The next point, also important point for you to remember, the last point. Provision for backward sections and tribes. What is the provision made by the government for the backward section, tribes? Now, you see sometimes in the school, you are asked which caste you belong to, if you are of OBC or if you are of different caste. And there are suppose there are different provisions for you, you will get those benefits. So let's see who gets those benefits. To uplift and include backward sections and tribes and deprived class in the mainstream, there are specific provisions in the Constitution. The Constitution has made this provision. When they framed the Constitution, that time itself they had made the provision for whom? Backward tribes and the backward classes. People who are deprived of their rights. Then, so what? Reserved seats and are allocated in the legislature and local self-governing bodies, election to provide representation. So students, they have the seats, okay? They have the seats reserved in legislature, lawmaking, where the laws have been framed, and the local self-governing bodies. Then reservation quota has been provided for admission in educational institute and government jobs in promotion to their population to provide equal opportunity. Now, in proportion to their population to provide equal opportunity. Why I said that, see student in the school and or sometimes you are asked which caste you belong to, so that you get, for the students there have been different scholarships. Okay, in the educational institute, it is said there, in the educational institute, there have been special seats reserved for the students who are coming from the backward classes. And even though you have the child who is studying in the coming from backward classes, if he has less percentages, and the student who doesn't come in the backward class, if he has more percentages, according to the quota, the student who has less percentages might get it, because the seats have been reserved for them. The seats. And that is not I am telling. That is in your constitution. It is said that the quota reserved for those students. The quota has been provided. What is the meaning of quota? Some seats. Children of backward section and tribes are given scholarships, basic amenities and waived fees, which come under optimistic policies and shielding policies as per provision in the constitution. So see what I told you. It is said that they also have concession in the fee, they get the scholarship, and see whatever difficulties if they have, we know from which tribe or which caste they come, they will get those benefits. And therefore students, my request to you, if you know that you are coming from particular caste, we do not discriminate you, but we will request you that you may study well, get good percentages, so that you are able to secure the seat which has been reserved for you. You can go higher and higher ahead in your life. And we are not to discriminate anyone. According to our constitution, we do not discriminate anyone. Sometimes you don't know who is the student coming from which class, which tribe, because we do not ask one another. We look at the person. For us, the person who is an Indian is a brother and a sister. So students, over here we have completed the chapter. Today I will send you the board work. The board work will be just few rights which I said. Otherwise, as I told you, I won't give you the question answers. Please complete your book and get ready. Learn this lesson by heart. Get ready for the test. Gujarati medium dates have been declared. English medium will be soon told to you. Have a good day, students.